So your beautifully crafted story has officially been written and you are ready to post it to Wattpad. You're probably asking yourself, where the heck do I start? Hey fresties, welcome back to Wattpad Wednesdays and welcome back to the series where I am taking you through every single step of my process for writing and posting a book to Wattpad. Last time that I have to say that mouthful. We have made it to the final part of the series where I'm going to tell you all about how I prepare to post my finished story to Wattpad. Obviously, if you want to go in and you just want to upload your chapters, not really do more than just add a description and maybe some tags, a title, the bare basics, that is totally valid, totally cool, and stories can definitely be successful that way. But for me personally, when I'm uploading my stories, honestly, I just have a lot of fun with putting different elements of creativity into the posting process of my story. And the first way that I do that is with graphics. I think the most obvious graphic that we're going to start with is the cover of your story. People get very caught up on the cover of their story, and honestly it's understandable as to why, because it's the first thing that people notice. It is going to either attract their attention for a good reason or a bad reason, or it's just not going to attract their attention at all. So you definitely want your cover to be eye-catching, but for the right reason. And it's also important that your cover is genre appropriate, that you're not making a cover that looks like it belongs to a horror book when your story is actually a romance, unless it's a horror romance. You get what I'm saying? I actually have a video up on my channel all about how is it on this side? This side? I think it's on this side. I have a video up on my channel about making covers on Canva. Now, this isn't what I always do. For many, many years, I actually strictly used Photoshop to make my covers, but in the past like year and a half or so, I have been moving on to Canva because everything on there is copyright free, but it is definitely more than possible to use Photoshop to make your covers, or any other sort of photo editing application. Like if you're on your phone, you can use PixArt. There are definitely ways to make a cover that is not going to be stealing anybody else's images. So for my own experience with Photoshop, I will definitely be posting a video about that in the future, because honestly at this point I'm still much better at making covers on Photoshop than I am on Canva. But if you want to go check out that video about how I make Canva covers, then you can go do that. I might make one again soon because I really do feel like I've improved. It's a little outdated, but for the most part it is still very relevant and it's still the process that I follow, and I think there's definitely some good tips in there. I definitely go a lot more in depth into cover creation in that video. This video isn't about just covers, we're talking about all the good stuff. So other than covers, other graphics that I like to include are character and story aesthetics, which I can put up some examples here. Again, in the past I have gotten pictures from Pinterest and put them together with Photoshop or PixArt and just made a little collage with either the name of a character at the top of the collage or the name of my story. Geez, look how big my ring light looks. Oh my gosh. But with my latest stories, I have been using Canva again to make my aesthetics, because again, it's just a way to make sure that your images are not copyrighted and that there is no stealing of somebody else's artistic property. I am definitely going to make a video about how I make my aesthetics. I will include examples from Photoshop and Canva. I got a request to do that a long time ago, and I'm sorry that I still haven't gotten to it yet. It is definitely coming in the upcoming months. Now, these sort of images are things that I usually put in the first chapter. I like to post a little intro chapter, which I will get into in the next step. But if you're wondering what I use them for, I put them at the beginning of the story just to give people a nice little feel of the mood and give them an idea of, you know, maybe what the location looks like or what the characters look like before they start reading. Totally an optional thing. I actually know that some readers don't like when you use character aesthetics, and another thing that you can do as a graphic is to cast actors and actresses for the characters in your story, which some readers really like because it gives them a face to put to the characters that they're reading, and other readers I have seen complain about this and say that they hate it, and that sometimes if a story has that, they will just click off right away. So really, it's one of those things that is just up to you as a writer, and it's your story. And I think that even if they don't necessarily like these things, they're not gonna click off of your story altogether. They're just gonna either scroll past it or move on to the next chapter right away. I never really understood the concept of clicking off of a story because of it. Like, if I don't want to picture an actor that they cast as that character, then I just don't do it. It seems a little dramatic to me, but that's just me. So the next graphics that I focus on creating are chapter banners. This is sort of a wide range of things. When I say chapter banners, I kind of think of three different things. When people talk about chapter banners, they can mean the image that you can put on the Wattpad chapter, this is really hard to describe. I will put in a picture of what I'm talking about, but it's like a built-in feature where as soon as you open the chapter, there's like a picture right at the top and it's just there. But you don't have to add one, but it's already built into the app and it doesn't have to be a specific size or anything, as far as I know. Some people, if they make a banner specifically for like, oh, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, they will put that at the top. Other people will make it a specific size. I will put that size here. This is another thing that I will make a video on how I create in the future. With these specially sized banners, you can put them in your chapters and they're gonna fit perfectly on desktop and mobile and just look really nice and sleek and perfectly sized for your chapters. I will put examples of what I'm talking about here because I feel like I'm really not doing all that great of a job describing it. I always feel silly when I say that I'm not describing things well because it's like, well, I'm a writer. Shouldn't I be good at describing? I use these specially sized banners to chapter dividers. So if I have like 2 scenes in one chapter, like if my heroine has a scene at the beginning, but it's kind of short, so then I also want my hero's next scene to be in that same chapter, I will divide them with like a little banner with a symbol on it or something. And I also use them to create end of chapter banners, which is just a little banner that thanks the reader for reading and reminds them that I would love it if they voted and commented on the story. You can make these in tons of different ways. You can just put text if you want. You can put images that relate to the theme of your story. For my latest story, I have used Canva to create little videos for banners that I then in Photoshop turned into GIFs. So once I have all my graphics made, my next step is to paste and format all my chapters. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the drafting video, but I never draft my stories in the Wattpad creator. I do it on Scrivener or Google Docs. So I just copy those chapters from whatever source I wrote them in and paste them into the Wattpad editor chapter by chapter. Usually I do have to do quite a bit of formatting if I copy and paste from Scrivener. They just get kind of wacky when you paste them into the Wattpad editor, so that's an unfortunate thing that happens, but it is what it is. The most annoying part is that it takes away the italics. So honestly, nowadays when I write in Scrivener, I know that when I write something in italics, I put a little asterisk next to it so that when I copy it over, I just Control F for the asterisk and make all those words or sentences into italics like they need to be. If you're copying and pasting from something and that happens to you, there's a little tip for your drafting to make things a lot easier on you when it comes time to copy and paste. And of course, since we are getting all our chapters ready, I also add my graphics that I've just made to the chapters. So I will add the dividers, which in my drafting, I usually just put parentheses and then divider in all caps, so it's really easy to find. And I add my thanks for reading banner at the bottom, and I am ready to go for the chapters. I also upload my cover, and this is where I go ahead and fill out all the information on my story. I write in my title, I write in my blurb, which I'm gonna say it again, I will make a separate video all about writing blurbs because it is a challenge in its own right. I should have thought to add that in this video series. Maybe I'll make it like a little bonus video. Anyways, I write my title in, I fill in my blurb, and I add tags. Basically, everything that needs to be filled out right now, I'm filling out. And once I have everything completely ready to go, it is time for me to decide on a posting schedule. I would say that the best posting schedule is something that is easy for you to manage, but is simultaneously not going to keep your readers waiting too long for the next update. I would personally say that 1 to 2 times a week is a very solid uploading schedule, and I think most readers are pretty happy with that, especially 2 times a week. I think readers are very impressed when writers upload twice a week. But when in doubt, an update a week is suitable for every story. And if you've written your story beforehand, then once a week, totally doable, very easy. Even if you're editing the chapters as you go, it's still really easy to keep up with it. And I don't know if any of you guys are as schedule oriented as I am, but for me personally, I make a whole layout where I just list every single chapter and I put the date that I am supposed to post that chapter on so that I have a full schedule and I know this is my starting date of posting, this is my ending date of posting. I like having a complete visual of, okay, this is my story, this is how long it lasts, let's get to posting. So the next thing that I do once I have figured out this schedule and I'm all raring to go is announce it to my followers. You can do this with just a simple announcement on your activity feed, or you can really hype it up and make it a whole big event type of thing. If you're more active on other social medias, then it's probably easier to do this. Let's say Instagram, for example, you can post a cover reveal and announce it on your Wattpad, like, hey, go check out this post on my Instagram if you want to see the cover for my next book. You can do a title reveal. That would probably come before the cover reveal. reveal. You can just do that on Wattpad because no need to upload a picture or anything. Or if it's a sequel, you can do all this in the book that came before it. In the romance series that I'm working on, I'm definitely going to post all these teaser type of things at the end of the first book so that readers of the first book will get hyped up at the end like, oh my gosh, there's a second book, you know? Well, hopefully. That's the goal. You don't have to do this sort of announcing thing, but I really do think it helps get your audience excited, and it kind of just helps me get excited as an author. Like, yes, I'm about to post this thing, let's get hyped for it, let's really immerse ourselves in the world and everything that is to come. This is also the point where after I do these reveals, I go ahead and actually click post on a chapter on my story, but not the first chapter. This is what I like to call a teaser chapter. And this is where I put all that fun stuff that I've talked about throughout this series, like the playlist and the character and story aesthetics. So I will do a little scroll through of one of my teaser chapters just to give you a feel for it. You know, I make banners for it to divide the different sections that really just kind of, again, give that feel of the story. And I post a little author's note that just says, you know, thank you for checking this out. Maybe explain a little bit about what inspired the story and let the readers know what my upload schedule is going to be for that story. Some people like to put these in multiple chapters where they have one chapter for the author's note and maybe the description of the book, another chapter for the aesthetics, another chapter for the playlist. I used to do it this way, but lately I just like to, bam, put it all in one single chapter because I did hear before, and I do notice this, that if you have all these chapters at the beginning of your story that actually aren't part of the story, some readers do get fed up and they're just like, oh my gosh, what is all this other stuff? I did not come here for this, and they just leave. So I think having it all condensed into one chapter, while some people may still get annoyed by it, honestly, I think most of them will just scroll past and be like, okay, here's the first chapter, let's get into it. So now that I have all the fun stuff done, well, not all the fun stuff, the posting is fun too, but all the extra stuff, I should say, it is time to get down to the nitty-gritty and just start posting. When it does come time for me to post my first chapter, I usually do another announcement on my activity board, and if you're active on other social media, again, you can also re-announce it here, just telling people, hey, guess what? The first chapter is officially out, go check it out if you're interested, that sort of a thing. I think that authors on Wattpad can sometimes underestimate, including myself, how much this actually helps and how much traffic this can really drive to your story. Even throughout the posting process, feel free to announce on your message board like, hey, guess what? There's a new chapter of this. If you have followers who just happen to miss that you started a new story, maybe when you're 10 chapters in and you make a second announcement, they actually end up seeing it and they're like, oh, hey, I had no idea this was out. Let me go look at it. It's the sort of thing where if people aren't interested, then they're just going to ignore it. They're probably not really going to get annoyed if somebody is just talking about their chapters. I mean, that's what Wattpad is for. But if somebody is interested and they haven't seen it yet, then it's really going to be beneficial for you and them. And something I forgot to write in my notes, but that is super important and just fun. I don't think that honestly you would forget to do this, but replying to any comments left by your readers is just proper etiquette, in my opinion. And also, if you're a writer, then you're probably going to want to do that. If you are shy, trust me, I understand, so am I. But even if you're not going to involve yourself in conversation with your readers, the least you can do is say thank you, because I'm sure you really are thankful that somebody has decided to read your story. So please let your readers know that they are appreciated, because I'm sure that you do appreciate them. If you are shy and you can manage to, it really is nice to come out of your shell a little bit and actually talk to your readers about the story and engage them in conversation about the characters and everything. It's really fun, and it just adds an extra layer to the experience of uploading something to Wattpad. You're not just getting feedback, but you are having actual dialogue about your book, and you're able to share some of that writing process with the people who are actually reading it. That wraps everything up for the posting process of my story. Then it's just a matter of going through the however long it is and continuing to post on the days that I have chosen. And my favorite part about this process that I have created for myself is that now that I have this book completely written and all I have to do is post every week, you know, maybe edit the chapter a little bit before I do press post, but that doesn't take very long because it's not like a thorough edit. It's just like a, let me see if I want to add some details and whatnot. I can have this story to keep my readers happy, while on the other hand, I am working on a completely new story behind the scenes. And then when that story is done and I'm posting that story, I can work on the next story. So my readers are never going to be left without something of mine for them to read. So that does it. That is my entire process for writing and posting a Wattpad story. I hope that this series was helpful. I hope that you have a little bit bit of a better understanding of how you maybe want to go about formulating a process for your own writing. Maybe my process seems like it really resonated with you and you want to try out the things that I do, the order that I do things, or maybe you watched the series and you were like, this is crazy, I am never doing any of this, why don't you just write a book and upload it? And that is totally valid too. I think it's helpful to figure out what you don't want to do as much as it is to figure out what you actually do want to do. Thank you so much for watching, whether this was the only video you watched in the series or whether you watched the entire thing. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments if it was helpful. If you have any questions, I can either answer them in the comments or make a whole separate video about them if it's something that I need to go more in depth with. Feel free to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos about Wattpad and writing. And I hope that I will see you in the next Wattpad Wednesday video. Become a frestie. You know you want to. He's so cute with his butt. Okay.